Next morning, she woke up and found herself into the bed. A painful groan left from her mouth when she touched her hand. The marks of chains are still visible on her wrist. She moved the duvet from her body and walked toward the door. She can't walk properly because of weakness, but she managed herself and tried to open the door lock. She knocked on the door several times, but no one responds her back. Vayun, please, open the door. Please, help me, please. Suddenly someone came out from the washroom. She quickly turned and looked toward that person. It was her nightmare, the person she hated the most in this entire world. He wiped his hand with the tissue and, with a devilish smirk, he looked at her. Jungkook, why are you even trying, girl? There is no one in this house. It's only just you and me. She looked at the room and he was right. He'd take her into a different place. She looked at him with full of anger and shouted on him, Vayun, where I am, tell me. He looked at her with his dark eyes and with the long steps, he came closer to her and held her jaw. Jungkook, don't try to raise your voice in front of me. Other than next time, I will not leave your mom to speak in front of anyone. He held her jaw and inserted his finger into her cheeks. A painful groan left from her mouth. He gritted his teeth in anger and looked at her with full of anger. Vayun, please, please leave me, it's hurting. He left her jaw and walked toward his changing room. She was still in her wedding dress. She sat into the floor and tears left from her eyes. After wearing his three-piece black suit, he came out and looked at her head to toe. Her condition was not good at all. He can see it that she is feeling weak and now she don't have any strength to even get up and talk to him. Jungkook, stop this crying. Now you are belong here for the rest of your life. Vayun, I don't belong to anyone, not even you. I would prefer to die before spending my life here with you. He held her with her armpits and make her stand in front of him. He came closer to her face. Jungkook, if you want to die, then just be patient. I will do this work with my own hands. It will be the best day. Killing you is my biggest wish. Yeah, one more thing. If you try to do any stupid thing behind my back, I swear your half family, which is left from me, will die just because of you. So if you love them, then live for them and give me the pleasure to torture you. Think about it before doing any stupid thing. She looked at him with tearful eyes, but there is no sympathy in his eyes for her. For a second, he looked at her, then he left her arm and came out from the door. A tear left from her eyes because now there is no any option left in her life. She have to face it, what he will do with her. After a few minutes, he entered his office. His eyes directly landed on the next person, who was none other than his fiancée, Jiwoo. Jungkook, what are you doing here? In his cold voice. Jiwoo, I'm sorry, I came here without informing you. Actually, I have to talk to you about something really important. He always never show any interest toward Jiwoo. He is always cold and rude toward her. But Jiwoo loves him a lot. She don't care about it if he loves him or not. But she just wants him at any cost. He walked toward his chair and sat. He get the file into his hand and without paying any attention to her, she start talking because she know he always cold toward her like this. Jiwoo, actually Dad is asking about our marriage. Now you take your revenge, so I think it's a perfect time for us to get married. Jungkook, I'm not ready for any marriage. Now you get my answer, so just get out from here. Jiwoo, but Jungkook, just go from here. Don't piss me off more. She flinched when he shouted on her, but she don't want to make him more angry, so that's why she came out from the room. After when she left the room, he threw the file into the floor and put his hand on the back of the chair. He closed his eyes and Vayun's face flashed into his mind. Jungkook, why I'm thinking about her? What is wrong with me? I hate her a lot. Then why? Suddenly his manager entered to his cabin. Manager, boss? They are here. You want to meet him? He closed his eyes and tried to control on his anger. Jungkook, you go. I'm coming. After this, he left from here. He corrected his coat and looked at the mirror. Jungkook, she's just a useless. I have to finish her chapter as soon as possible. He entered to his meeting hall where Mr. Wong was already waiting for him with his man. He entered to the dark hall and sit into the center chair without shifting his gaze toward him. He talked. Jungkook, so you want that girl? Mr. Wong, yes. His eyes were full of anger. Jungkook, then take her. My business is done with her. Do whatever you want to do. She is useless for me. Mr. Wong gritted his teeth and got up from his chair and shouted on him with full of anger. Mr. Wong, how we could believe that you did not touch her? How? She's only belonged to my son. Now speak. He smirked and stretched his neck. The voice of his Wong popped up from his neck. He looked at him with his dark eyes. Jungkook, oh, so your son wants her, right? Mr. Wong, she rejected my son. Only her scream will satisfy him. Now, how could you do this? Jungkook, get up and walk toward him and look straight into his eyes. Jungkook, yes, I with her. Now her beautiful body is full with the marks of my love. So now tell me what you will do with me. He come toward him and hold his collar into his fist. Mr. Wong, she belonged to my son. Why you do this? His all guards take out their guns and point toward him. Suddenly he hold his neck and make his face dangerously closer to him. He looked at him with his bloodshot eyes. Jungkook, you know, if I want, then I will cut you into pieces and send that to your son. Don't forget where you're standing right now. Look around. It's my place. He looked around and found all his guards already pointed their guns on him. A cold sweat drops left from his forehead. Jungkook, and yeah, one more thing. If I will know that your son wants her only for his pleasure, then I would like to kill her into her mansion before giving her to you. So now take your bags and get out from here before I kill you here. Leave! Without wasting any moment, he came out from the room and left the building. He took deep breath and tried to control on his anger. He looked toward his manager. Jungkook, I'm leaving. Don't call me again. Without wasting any one more minute, he turned his car toward the outhouse and entered to her room where she was still seated on the floor. He walked toward her and held her wrist into the anger and dragged her inside the washroom. Wayun, what are you doing? Leave me. Jungkook, just shut up. I don't want to listen any words from your mouth. Then he turned on the cold shower and made her stand inside it and step back. She tried her best to run away from here. Jungkook, stand still until I want. Wayun, but it's too cold. Please let me go. The water is pouring on her full body. Her wedding dress got wet into the water, but his deathly glare was still on her wet figure. She closed her eyes and let the water flow on down on her body. Just like that, 30 minutes got past. Both did not say a word to each other. She was quiet and looking toward the floor, and his eyes was still on her. Her whole body was shivering inside the shower, but he did not turn off the tap. Slowly, but now her body can't carry the weight of her dress, and soon she passed out. She were about to fall into the floor, but before her body touched the floor, he held her from her waist and with a jerk he pulled her closer to his body. Her face landed on his chest. He turned off the tap and picked her up into the bridal style. He entered the room and laid her down into the bed. Then he turned off the all light and it became dark. She was shivering badly. Her lips turned white. Her face got pale, like there is no blood inside her. She was looking weak. Then he took out his dress and walked toward her. He roamed his eyes around her whole body. Then he sat beside her and closed his eyes. He put his hand around her neck and pulled her up from the bed. He slowly traveled his hand on the back of his dress and opened her zip. Her puffy eyes, pale face, wet hairs were making her more beautiful. It's not like that he never saw a beautiful girl before, but somehow he wanted to see her in front of his eyes every time because it was giving him an unknown peace which he never felt before with anyone. He take off her dress and now she is in front of him, but for even a second he don't take his eyes off from her face. He change her dress and make her lie down on the bed again. He put her on the dry side of the bed and about to leave from here, but suddenly he feel a grip around his hand. He turned and looked toward his hand which was holding by her. He again sit and looked toward her face. He moved her wet hairs from her face and tangled it on the back of her ear. She was a daughter of his enemy, but still he can't stop himself to touch her. There was unknown feeling inside him which was rising for her inside his heart for her. He roamed his eyes around her face and where he was lost into her beauty. His attention got diverted when someone knocked on the door. Maid, boss, grandfather is here. He is waiting for you. A slight curve appeared between his brows. Jungkook, okay, you go, I'm coming. But before leaving, he put the duvet on her body and leave from here. He come down from the stairs where his eyes landed on his grandfather. He were looking angry. He come closer to him. His grandfather looked at him. Jungkook, is there something bothering you? Father, yes, I think you took your revenge from his family and killed all of them, right? He did not say a word from his mouth. Father, then why you did not kill her? Tell me. Jungkook, it's not my responsibility to tell you about my each and every decision. She is living here with me as my slave. Father, are you crazy? You know you will be get married soon with Jiwoo. You have to finish her, so then you will start your new life with her. Jungkook, I don't want to marry her. I tell you before, then why are you doing this? Father, because she loves you. She is the only girl who was with you on your bad days. Don't forget it. Jungkook, I don't want to argue with you, but I don't have any place for her in my heart and not for any other girl. So please don't spoil her life. And I can't give her the love what she is expecting from me. If you really care for her, then tell her to move on from me. Father, but I want to see you happy. Jungkook, smirk. What? Happy? The word of happiness does not exist into my life. From the day when I lost my parents, now there is only revenge, anger, frustration, and hate in my heart for the whole world, and I don't want to burn Jiwoo in this hate. Father, but my son, Jungkook, I'm leaving for some work. I will come at night and please finish this chapter as soon as possible. Then he left from the outhouse. Time got past at night. His grandfather were thinking about him. He was worried for him. He just wanted to see him happy now. Because after all of this year, he only watched him burning for revenge. Suddenly someone knocked on his door. Jimin, you call me grandfather? Father, yes, come in. He entered to the room and closed the door behind. Jimin, is everything is fine? Father, I want to discuss something with you. Jimin, it's about Jungkook? Father, come, sit here. Then he told him about the whole situation. Jimin was quiet and listening to him. Father, now tell me what I can do. Jimin, Father, you have to talk to this girl. He frowned his brows. Father, why? Jimin, I think only she can bring light into his dark world. Father, what? He looked at him with full of anger. Jimin, before you get angry with me, listen. I know Jungkook hates her, but it's the first time that Jungkook brings someone into his life. I know he wants to take out his anger on her, but somehow she entered to his life. Father, then what you mean? Jimin, talk to her. Tell her instead of her freedom, you have to bring light of love into his life. She have to love Jungkook. The pain he was carrying into his heart for so long, and the reason was her father. But I don't think so she will be agree with this. Jimin, but at least we can try. Father, you think She would be agree for this? Jimin, talk to her. Father, okay, I will think about it. After a few hours, she get up and hold her head. Why is it hurting so much? She get up and sit in the bed. She looked at her dress. Vayun, who changed my dress? She frowned her brows. Suddenly someone knocked on the door. She looked at the door. Vayun, come in. The door got open and the old man entered to her room. She frowned his brows after watching him. Vayun, who are you? Father, I'm Jungkook's grandfather. Vayun, who is Jungkook? He's Mark. Father, I'm surprised. The man who bring you here, you did not even know his name. She mumbled his name into her breathing voice. Vayun, his name is Jungkook? Father, where you lost? She quickly got up from the bed. He looked at her in one gaze, from head to toe, because she was at Jungkook's dress. Vayun, please let me go to my family, please. I missed my father. Suddenly he got angry and shouted on her. Father, don't try to take this name in front of him. She flinched and tears rolled down from her eyes. He took deep breath and tried to control on his anger. Father, I know you want to go from here, and you will, but instead of your freedom, you have to give me something. Vayun, what you want from me? Your cruel son already took everything from me. My father, my family, my husband, everything. Father, but your life is still pending on him, and his revenge will never got complete until he kills you with his own hands. And I'm the only person who can stop him for taking your life. Vayun, so what you want? Father, I want you to change him, bring love into his life, cure the pain of his heart what your dad gave it to him. She frowned his brows. Vayun, what? My father gave him a pain? It can't possible. He was a great man. He smirked on her answer. Father, you are too innocent, but I don't want to give you any explanation about your father. Soon you will figure out by your own self, and believe me, on that day, you will take your life with your own hands. He looked at her with full of anger. Tell me, are you ready for the deal or not? Vayun, no. Your son is a murderer of my father. He deserved to die. And love? Never. I wish he burned himself into this hate and never get love into his life. Suddenly his grandfather turned and slapped on her cheek. She fell into the floor. Father, never say a word about my son, other than next time I will kill you from my own hands. I was a fool who think you would understand. Maybe you will be not like your father, but I was wrong. You got the same dirty blood like him. Then he came out from the room and closed the door behind. Vayun, why? Why am I still alive? To live in this hell? Why? She cried out of her heart, but now there is no way for her freedom. She have to face his torture each and every day, and now only this is written in her fate. Time got passed. Into the midnight, he entered to her room, where she was still awake and looking outside from the window. The window were covered with the metal rods, like she is a prisoner. She were lost into her thought, but suddenly she felt a cold hand around her neck. She flinched and turned in fear. Jungkook, so Princess got scared? A devilish smirk plastered into his lips. Vayun, leave me. She jerked his hand away from her and walked away from him. Suddenly he held her wrist and with a turn she landed on his chest. He held her hairs into his fist and a painful gasp left from her mouth. He pinned her figure toward the wall and dangerously come closer to her face. She looked at him with his terrible eyes. Vayun, leave me right now. Jungkook smirked. I'm surprised. Seeing you like this with me, where you get this much courage to talk to me like this and order me? He come near to her ear and whispered, you are my slave. Now you have to follow my orders. She put her head on his chest and pushed him away from her. He took 2 steps back and make a balance. Vayun, get one thing in your mind. I'm not your slave. I'm Vayun. I don't need to follow your fucking orders. He looked at her and without wasting any more second, he come closer to her, and with full of anger, he pressed his lips on her. He full of anger, like he would eat her lips like a beast. He tied his grip around her waist and left no gap in between their bodies. Their bodies are rubbing with each other. She hardly bit his lips that blood came out from his lip. He broke the kiss and touched his lip where the blood was. He smirked. Jungkook, ah, princess, what you did. Tonight I will show you how the slave gave pleasure to their master.